watching Rivalry Week, presented by Cisco.
Are you kidding me? Wow. This ought to be some kind of show tonight. It's unbelievable.
Oh, America, are you serious? Oh, it is showtime.
Oh, boy.
Are you telling me there's no magic in this house tonight?
Rivalry Week, all week long.
Tonight, Rivalry Week begins with the backyard brawl. West Virginia and Pittsburgh at the sold-out Petersen Center.
You think about the history. When you see them on the schedule, you think about last year we lost at the buzzer.
3 seconds to go. Benjamin. Ramon for the win. Got it! Pittsburgh wins!
Where they're from, they hate us, and our fans, where we're from, we hate them.
Just seeing their name and knowing, what that game's all about, how physical it's going to be, you get pumped for it.
Obviously, whatever team wins, have the brag on us.
Welcome, everyone, to Big Monday, presented by Bud Light, a part of Rivalry Week, brought to you by Cisco on ESPN. Tonight, the 177th meeting between two schools separated by only 75 miles, West Virginia and Pittsburgh. It's a rivalry that dates back to 1903. And as we like to call it, the year of Bill Raftery's birth. The Big East standings, Connecticut setting the pace at 10-1. Of course, this year you want to be in the top 8 in the final standings because you get at least one bye in the conference tournament if you're in the top 8. West Virginia trying to move into that top 8. Only 2 games separate 6th from 11th right now in Big East Conference play. Hello, everybody, and welcome. I'm Sean McDonough, along with Jay Bilas and the aforementioned Bill Raftery. Delighted to have you with us for the start of Rivalry Week, and we start with a great one. A lot of spirit and energy in this building, as always, for these two schools. When we talk about Pitt, Jay, a team that's been near the top of the rankings all year, playing very well right now. They've won 3 in a row, and they've scored over 90 points per game in each of the last 3.
And we've always talked about them doing a great job defensively. They still are. They're a top 5 defense in the Big East, but their offense has been incredibly efficient. I think it's because of Levance Fields. He does not turn the ball over, a great floor general, and also because they are so good as an offensive rebounding team and getting second shots.
And Bill, West Virginia, I think, has to be pleased with the way they've performed so far this year. 500 in conference, but they've played a very difficult schedule, which we'll chronicle in a moment. And it's a young and inexperienced team.
Thank you for the birthday gift, by the way. West Virginia, a little like our broadcast team, a hole in the middle. And they play wide open. What they need, basically, is a third guy to step up. Butler's going to score. Ruoff's going to score. They need a third contributor.
Let's take a look at 2 men who have contributed greatly this season as we check out Star Watch.
Well, first for West Virginia, Deshaun Butler. He is tough. He's got a live body and a very aggressive scorer, averaging just under 23 points per game over his last 7.
Juwan Blair, he's got a body, and he knows how to use it, dominating the low block area.
Let's take a look now at tonight's starting lineups. West Virginia 16-7 overall, 5-5 in conference. They're off a 27-point home win over Providence on Saturday. Darryl Truck Bryan and Alex Ruoff are the guards. And up front, Devin Ebanks, another freshman, with Deshaun Butler having an outstanding junior year, and Wellington Smith. Pittsburgh 21-2 overall, number 4 in the country with their 8-2 conference record. The great point guard Levance Fields with the hot shooting Jermaine Dixon, and one of the best front lines in the country, the headliners Sam Young and DeJuan Blair, and Tyrell Biggs having his best season of his career as a senior. Carl Hess, Curtis Shaw, and Joe Lindsay, the officials. Pitt wearing gold uniforms for just the 2nd time this year. They wore them in a win over Duquesne. And Wellington Smith controlled the tip for West Virginia, clad in blue.
Sean McDonough, Jay Bilas, Pittsburgh goes.
5 of the last 6 in the win column in this rivalry for Pitt, including a game 15 days ago down in Morgantown, a 79-67 win for the Panthers when Pittsburgh shot 54% against West Virginia, one of the best defensive teams in the conference, the Mountaineers.
And they will be patient, West Virginia. They go side to side, a lot of ball screens. flex cut and active hands once again, Jay, by Pitt.
Boy, not just the deflection by Blair, but Dixon doing a great job switching off.
Jamie Dixon, in his 6th season as head coach at Pittsburgh, he's won at least 20 in every season. And with 2 more conference wins, he'll make it 10 wins or more in the league for every year of his career as well. Amazing numbers off the takeaway by Pitt.
What a great start defensively and a little chug. Now it's a good one by Butler.
Bob Huggins in his 2nd year as head coach at his alma mater. 26 wins a year ago as he took them to the Sweet 16. And 16-7 against a very difficult schedule so far this year. Their schedule ranked 10th toughest in the country right now.
How about that screen?
And the 3 for Jermaine Dixon, who has been on fire. Now 9 for his last 11 from 3-point range.
And what he's done, Sean, he's developed his whole game. He's a terrific defender. He moves without the ball, and now he's ringing the bell.
Well, they talked about him not being a great shooter, but he has been knocking shots down ever since his brother Juan Dixon got with him and gave him a few pointers.
Yeah, after the Georgetown game, what was he, 1 for 7, I think.
Juan Dixon was at the game. He plays for the Washington Wizards. And Jermaine shot poorly, so after the game, Juan took him back on the floor at the Verizon Center. Count the bucket for Levance Fields. In the 9 games since, Dixon has shot 53% since his brother's tutorial.
I'm sorry, Sean. We talk about the body. Look at the hold off there by Blair. I mean, that's just so impressive. You look at the screen. Oh.
And once you get screened by DeJuan Blair, you stay screened for a while.
Alan Bryant his first. Levance Fields makes the free throw, and it's a 6-0 start for Pittsburgh. 90 points or more in each of the last 3 games. It's the first time Pitt's scored 90 points 3 games in a row in 18 years.
Now combine that with great D.
Butler short. He's a much improved 3-point shooter this year. Dixon off to Blair. He missed the shorty. Tapped out by Smith.
Nice play. Oh, what footwork.
Devin Ebanks has got a lot of ability. He's not a wide player, but he's very athletic and has done a terrific job rebounding and blocking shots. He's going to be a really good one.
He's a freshman out of Long Island City, New York, one of the most highly recruited players in the country coming out of high school. Off the Dixon miss, a foul against West Virginia in the rebounding action. It's on Ruoff. Ruoff's first and the team's third.
Ruoff had to foul there, Sean. There was nothing else he could do. Otherwise, Blair was going to get an easy stick back.
And West Virginia needs easy baskets, too. They're going to struggle in the half-court set.
Now a Pittsburgh foul on Fields, his first and the first on the Panthers. Jamie Dixon loves the improved offense. He's been a little bit chagrined by the less than Pitt standard defense lately. The last 4 opponents have all shot at least 44% against the Panthers. That's unusual.
He was upset after the DePaul game, they tell me. Step back.
They won 92-69.
This West Virginia team is going to have to run some better offense and get some better shots. They have been struggling on their end.
It might be Blair, Sean, on that little run down the middle. Not a good one. That's one of the cheap ones, and he can't afford that. They're a different team. The 2 losses, he fouled out. And in 2 to Florida State and Rutgers, he had 4, and they struggled.
Well, that's the key to beating them. Get DeJuan Blair in foul trouble. Their only losses at Louisville and at Villanova. Good block by Young as Butler went to the bucket. It's 5-on-4 for the moment for Pittsburgh. Fields whipped it underneath, and then Young missed the dunk.
He can run the floor, and the acknowledgement was beautiful.
Bryant, the freshman. They have 3 freshmen in the top 6 of their rotation. One of them, Ebanks, who gets the friendly roll.
They're going to have to use the dribble. They cannot run their stuff efficiently. They've got to set it up with some dribble drives.
Well, they have to keep spread. I mean, they run a 5-out motion where they can get some back cuts and some back screens, but they're going to have to keep it spread and make sure they make enough passes to move it from side to side.
Levance Field's tough step back. These are two of the best rebounding teams in the Big East. Ebanks gets it to fall, and give this young West Virginia team credit. Fell behind 6-0, and they've scored 6 in a row to get even.
And, you know, twice now he could have charged. We had great control at the end.
They've scored twice in transition as well. And that's one thing they're going to have to do is keep getting out in transition. You're going to keep seeing ball screens from Pittsburgh because West Virginia has not guarded it that well.
An offensive rebound. That's his ballywick.
Yeah, and that drives Bob Huggins crazy. He has a great admiration and respect for Blair's game, but he thinks the officials allow Blair just to roll his shoulder into the defender, run over the defender down on that block.
Well, he definitely dropped that shoulder. Now, whether the defender went down a little bit too easy there's no question that he dropped it, though.
He forgot his days at Cincinnati quickly, didn't he?
Ebanks, how about that control?
What a break in this kid, huh? Could have been in Indiana. Providing the lift early.
Foul on Blair, his second, and a timeout.
Do you get a hint of drinkability right away?
Does my pen have writability?
Come on, people. We gotta focus. We're not leaving until we've met our budget. We need ideas.
We could cut back on marketing.
We could eliminate bonuses. How about we stop buying Bud Light for every meeting?
It's the only beer with just the right taste. Bud Light. The difference is drinkability.
It was a joke!
Hold on there, buddy. I got something to tell you. Even the best of us get dull after a while. It's time to change your blade. All us Fusion blades have an indicator strip. And when it fades to white, change your blade for a better shave. Whoa! Fresh blade, better shave.
Those who seek to find her uncover the true face of fear.
What the hell was that?
Rated M for mature.
I couldn't find a card that truly encompassed the depth of my feelings, so I made one by hand.
Because you're not that guy, there's Helzberg Diamonds. Be a hero with this pendant. Value priced at $149.99. Helzberg Diamonds, helping regular guys since 1915.
NCAA Women's Basketball Championship coming in March to ESPN.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is presented by Bud Light. The difference is drinkability. And in part by Gillette Fusion, Gillette's closest, most comfortable shave.
Some images from this great rivalry, including a look at Bob Huggins, team captain as a senior at West Virginia under Coach Jody Gardner, and a great student. Two-time academic All-American, graduated magna cum laude from West Virginia University. 8-8 to score. Devin Ebanks has all 8 West Virginia points, and the officials are at the monitor looking at this play.
And it may be against the big fella, too.
There's no question it was against the big fella.
I think what they might be trying to ascertain is should it have been a shot, because it looked like he fouled him on the arm. The ball came loose, and then he caught it and shot it again.
That is not a basket by rule. He gets fouled, the ball comes loose.
And that's what it is. Curtis Shaw comes over to tell us that the basket is not going to count because, as you saw, the foul knocked the ball out of Ebanks' hands. Then he re-caught it and shot it, and therefore it is not a basket. Good work by the officials to use the monitor appropriately.
You don't often see that where 2 points is taken off the scoreboard. Unusual.
That could have been a bad night for you in your heyday.
Exactly.
Bobby, you mentioned a good student. Started at Walsh out in Ohio. Of course, a legend out in the Cincinnati area. The resume, Sean?
16-7, but the RPI very strong because 6 of their 7 losses have been the teams that were ranked at the time. The only unranked team they lost to was Kentucky at the time of the meeting.
And what's really important for them, that 5-3 road record, and they've had 2 really good road wins, Georgetown and Ohio State.
Juan Blair on the bench with 2 fouls, and that's obviously an early concern for Pittsburgh. The tournament resume was brought to you by the Ladders. West Virginia hoping to climb the ladder in the Big East. The schedule does get a little bit easier for them down the stretch.
Devin Ebanks has gotten off to a great start. He only averages 9 points per game in Big East play.
And it is a different team on the floor now for Pitt, Sean. The perimeter type of game, and Biggs is going to have to play bigger.
Brad Wanamaker with the ball now. He's been very effective lately off the bench for the Panthers. Sam Young into the lane to score. He's their leading scorer for the year, averaging just under 18 points per game.
He knows he's going to have to take over a little bit now.
Well, somebody needed to step in and take a charge there on that drive for West Virginia. They did a good job defensively, just didn't finish the play at the end.
And you're off a guy who can beat you outside, but he's gotten better in all facets of the game. That should be a jump ball.
And it is. Good defense by Wanamaker, the sophomore from Philadelphia.
Sam Young is an outstanding jump shooter, but also a great athlete. And Alex Ruoff decided he wanted to jump with them a little bit there instead of stepping in front and taking a charge. That was the percentage play to try to take the charge.
Levance Fields.
Good hustle, just miscommunication by Pitt.
West Virginia is getting crushed on ball screens. They're going to have to do a better job of stepping in and getting over.
Well, they're young and not particularly big physically, and that's the concern for Bob Huggins against this team of men, the Pitt Panthers. Ruoff a 3. Senior from Spring Hill, Florida. Has had a terrific career on and off the court at West Virginia.
Bryant trying to go underneath that ball screen, getting caught behind it a little bit. He's got to do a better job of negotiating that ball screen.
Sam Young missed a 3. Ripped away by Wellington Smith, the junior.
Get out in the early on Ruoff and Butler as well. Nice job defensively.
Gilbert Brown defending Butler.
Nice pass.
Butler. And he lost it over the end line.
He's showing a quick kick out. He had Ruoff.
Pittsburgh doesn't look as quick defensively over the last 3 or 4 possessions as they did to start the game. And West Virginia had some opportunities to score there. They just didn't take advantage of them. Off that pick and roll situation, they were wide open inside.
A dribble drive, Sean, has gotten them some looks too.
Gilbert Brown, the dribble drive, and he's fouled. And will go to the line to shoot a pair. Butler called for his second. So one of the stars on each side with 2 fouls. Blair on the bench with 2. And it looks like Bob Huggins is going to bring Butler to the bench as John Flowers checks in for him, a 6'7" sophomore from Waldorf, Maryland, number 41.
Now that's why those cheap fouls really hurt you when you're stepping out to hedge off a ball screen or something like that, 35, 40 feet from the basket.
Now let me ask you, Jay, you've seen a lot of that. I don't know why they just go under until the guy makes a couple out there.
Yeah, or you try not to step out and step into his path. You just stretch him out. You know, we don't see a lot of that.
Levance Fields called for using his free arm to try to push the defender away, and that's his second foul.
Wow. He did have the arm. I don't know if he extended it, though. Looking on in disbelief. Jamie up now. Both coaches expressing their ire.
West Virginia doing a better job of keeping things spread. This is their cut and fill offense. It's 5 out, open post. They can get some backdoor cuts.
And pick and pop, too, for Ruoff, and he can post as well.
That shot
was deflected as Bryant took it. Shot clock is at 7. Ebanks the miss, and the rebound down to Gary McGee at 6'10", just off the Pittsburgh bench.
That's the one guy I think's got to get better. Get a little nickel dimer out front. to give Blair some time off, and also in these foul situations, a big wide body McGee.
Well, you really have to move your feet on a driver. You cannot, anytime you put your hands on a ball handler, they are calling it. So you got to make sure you move your feet and try to angle them out.
This is going to quickly evolve into a foul shooting contest. Flowers called for the foul, his first and the 15th foul. And then a beautiful block by Kevin Jones just in for West Virginia. Bryant scores, and it looked like he got bumped.
And what a nice pass. And how about the hold off and the left at the end? Pretty.
West Virginia on the road fell behind 6-0 early. They now lead by 3.
Here is Kevin Shale's Comfort Suites Hotel. Here's the spacious room where he relaxed with the free paper, the desk where Kevin took advantage of the free internet, and where he grabbed a free hot breakfast to start his morning. So where's Kevin? He's out treating his customers to lunch with the money he didn't spend back at his hotel. Spacious rooms, free breakfast, free internet. And now when Kevin stays 2 times, he gets a free night. And so can you. Choice hotels are everywhere with the best value anywhere.
Tomorrow night on ESPN, Rivalry Week continues with a doubleheader at 7 Eastern, the Big Ten battle. State bragging rights on the line as Michigan faces number 9 Michigan State, and then at 9 Eastern time, one of the great SEC rivalries, the showdown between Florida and Kentucky. Super Tuesday presented by KFC, a part of Rivalry Week, presented by Cisco on ESPN. Fields and Blair each on the bench for Pittsburgh, the 2 fouls. Ashawn Butler, leading scorer for West Virginia, on the bench with 2, and another foul.
And a double's perfect double. You can't reach in and give it away.
That's the second on Ruoff.
There's only one place that will text you or email you when you get a package. The UPS Store. And that's something only we can deliver on.
Feeling kind of Sunday. Feeling kind of Sunday. Feeling kind of Sunday.
Sunday can't come soon enough. When you're there, State Farm's there.
We need to send an expert.
A walking, talking, know-it-all.
Expert. A guru.
How about Wu? Wu will do.
Where to?
First stop, Peru.
Then send Wu to Kathmandu.
What's next?
Timbuktu. And area code 212. So Timbuktu, Kathmandu, Peru in 212?
All by 2:30.
Not a problem.
Need an expert? Push a button. That's the human network effect. Learn more at cisco.com/newways.
Our new island-inspired entrees are here for you at Red Lobster, like Caribbean rock lobster and shrimp, and citrus rum shrimp and scallops, both wood-fire grilled to sear in the natural juices. Ending soon at Red Lobster.
It's the biggest rivalry in college basketball. Reigning Player of the Year Tyler Hansborough and the Tar Heels head to Durham to take on Coach K's Blue Devils in an ACC clash. North Carolina, Duke, Wednesday, 9 Eastern on ESPN.
That telecast is subject to blackout in some markets, so check your local listings. Of course, Jay, you are well acquainted. Remember the ESPN Classic today? We watched you play courageously through a shoulder injury that almost required amputation. But it wasn't enough. And quite frankly, you were on the short end of the stick more often than not looking at those numbers in the rivalry.
Well, they were pretty good back then. That Michael Jordan guy was pretty good. And Sam Perkins, who, how about trying to draw the charge? He knew he couldn't block it, so he's trying to.
Speaking of blackouts, that career, right? But, you know, Jay reminds me of a lot of brochures you get when you look in the book. They're trying to describe in nice form, good student, active in community affairs, hustles,
great personality, good makes their own clothes,
which is not true, obviously. Great player, and got his club to the Final Four, along with some other guys.
I'll tell you what, that game on Wednesday night is going to be, has a chance to be a great game, because Duke does some things that Carolina will have some problems with out on the perimeter. And Carolina does some things that Duke cannot stop, and that's their inside game. The question is Carolina going to be able to see inside to deliver the ball to their big guys? Because they are really strong getting it inside. And when they do, they're really difficult to beat.
Pittsburgh trying to find the mark. Now 1 for their last 6 with a turnover since DeJuan Blair went out of the ball game with 2 fouls, and apparently now there's a clock issue. It certainly has been stopped often enough. There have already been 10 fouls called in this game, and some of the best players on both teams saddled with early foul trouble. Blair and Fields still on the bench for Pittsburgh. Ruoff and Butler out with 2 apiece, and you'd have to think in terms of which team is hurt more. West Virginia is, because they're not as deep. They can't afford to play long stretches against this team without Ruoff and Butler.
I think the opposite, simply because now there's not the impetus. You can get some offensive rebounds. You don't have the big guy in the middle jamming things up. Their cutting game, their fill game, their dribble drive game. I think maybe body-wise you're right, but I just think philosophically the advantage might swing to West Virginia.
Well, both teams have to play differently, but for West Virginia, you know, at least they can try to get the ball up and down the court. The difference in the game thus far for West Virginia has been their transition. They've been able to get the ball down the floor and score.
Now they're trying to adjust to the time. Either that or Curtis Shaw is looking where the mascots are seated. Huh?
We're going to take a couple of seconds off the game clock. They probably should take some off the shot clock as well, shouldn't they?
They should to sync them up. You're all right.
They are trying, I guess. How mellow has Bob become? Just taking that shot. Much more composed on the sideline from his Cincinnati days. Much more relaxed. He's home. He loves it. They're going to put, hopefully, a practice facility up soon. They've agreed to it, and they have a large amount of money raised. So they're going forward. And he's comfortable with it.
Yeah, he is back home in his native Morgantown. He told us today he's been living in a hotel because when he got the job, he still had a home in Cincinnati and one in Manhattan, Kansas.
Well, I'm sure his room service bill won't be as much as Rick Majerus used to be.
Pittsburgh just bumps every cut. Such a physical team.
John Flowers. I guess the point I was making, Bill, about the foul trouble, where is the offense going to come from now for West Virginia?
No, you're right. No, there are disadvantages for them as well. Again, the use of the bounce is going to happen, or a little post up there. They get shots like that. You know, it wasn't a good-looking shot. They get the ball to the box, they can do some damage.
That puts West Virginia over the limit with 11:25 left in the half. Wellington Smith called for his first foul, and Sam Young is at the free throw line.
And to be in the 1-and-1 this early, that can really take a lot of aggressiveness away from your defense. Obviously, you don't want to foul, but right now West Virginia has a very young team on the floor.
One out of 2 for Young. Pittsburgh had 6 points on their first 2 possessions. They've scored a total of 5 points since.
I love the way they screen and they drive their guy in and then fade. He said he ran this in the early days at Cincinnati, he being Bob Huggins, and when he got Forts in, they became more of a power team.
Yeah, he ran it at Akron as well when he was there.
Out of the corner, it drops for Kevin Jones, another of the freshmen. He's from Mount Vernon, New York, where he played on a couple of New York State high school championship teams.
He's coming off a pretty darn good game against Providence. He had 8 points and 7 rebounds.
And what a high school that was, too. McCray and, of course, Gus Johnson, Ray Williams, excuse me.
Called on Young. His first.
Gus and Ray Williams, I have to say.
Young turned in there with that little elbow. See, Ebank's he's got a good game.
Boy, if they develop the outside shot, those two. And 3 of the first 6 are freshmen for West Virginia.
It's so difficult to rely upon freshmen, especially with their levels of consistency in the Big East. I mean, this is a league that can really punish youth.
I think that's why it's impressive what West Virginia's done with such a young team, and they've played most of the year without Joe Mazzulla, who was their starting point guard. He played in only 7 games, recently had shoulder surgery and will be out for the rest of the year.
And there's a toughness about him. Nice swipe.
How about Smith getting on the floor? What a play.
And we'll go back to West Virginia. You saw an example of how they missed Missoula right there as his stand-in Daryl Bryant was stripped. And Missoula brought defense, toughness, some scoring. As a matter of fact, last year he had a big game against Pitt, had a career-high 15 points in one of the matchups with the Panthers.
Well, of the attributes you mentioned, I think toughness is the one they missed the most.
And a carry here by Ebanks. And he's been working with the other hand as well, just to get used to it.
Third turnover for West Virginia. They don't do that often. They're the best in the Big East in turnover margin at +5 per game.
Pittsburgh trying to lift up a little bit, get everything free throw line or above. We haven't. How many possessions have we had without a whistle?
Just being aggressive so far from the rim. You got to back up on the catch.
So that's 2 fouls on Bryant. They have 3 starters now with 2 fouls apiece. So they'll go even deeper into the bench to Will Thomas, who averages 1/10 of a point per game. That's how deep into the bench they are. He's taken only 8 shots all year. Ashton Gibbs, the free throw shooter.
Ashton Gibbs, one of those kids that can light it up from deep. Very confident and typical of kids that come to Pitt. They bring them along nicely. They're not rushed into or forced fed.
He's been playing some more minutes with Levance Fields, and that's really helped his game. I mean, especially lately, he has played well.
And you saw the graphic, 50% three-point shooter. He now leads the Big East. He barely qualifies. You need a minimum of 1 make per game. But Gibbs, by percentage, leading the Big East in three-point shooting.
Virus likes that outside shot. A pump fake, but Pitt doesn't leave the ground.
Shot clock down to 5. And a travel.
You mentioned not that experienced out there. And Bob Huggins went down the bench looking around for who to put in. I can relate to that feeling. You know? Who wants to play here? A whole lot of experience.
Do you think he'll go the entire rest of the half with Ruoff and Butler on the bench?
It depends how the game goes and what the score is. As long as they're ahead or tied, if they can stick with him, he'll keep them on the bench for a while. He's got to get toward the end of the game, especially on the road here, to give his team a chance to win.
Good defense by Flowers to deny Wanamaker after a strong baseline drive. 9 minutes to go, first half. West Virginia on the road in the backyard brawl, leading by 2, trying to get a split of the regular season series.
Yeah, there's their flex cut and duck in, but it's not the same guy receiving it that they're accustomed to. Nice help.
Ebanks. Strong rebound by Flowers. Ebanks again, the bank from straight on.
How about that? Nice hustle play, come up with the junk, and a little kiss.
You know, and that's a shot that West Virginia practices. They will practice not only straight on, but at a little bit of an angle out away from the basket, shooting it off the backboard.
You know who's real good at that is UConn. That's one of their drills all the time, those medium shot, in-between shots.
Gilbert Brown the miss, the rebound by Flowers. Ebanks has 10 of the 17 points for West Virginia. He averages 8.5 points per game, so he is filling the offensive void created by the foul difficulty for Butler and Ruoff.
Well, this has seemed to be a horrible struggle for West Virginia. They've got a 4-point lead.
Doing it with defense as Pittsburgh's gone over 6 minutes without a field goal.
And they can't get an offensive rebound without Blair in the game.
Wellington Smith, a deep miss. He has made 9 threes this year.
And one of the things with Blair in the ball.
How about that step back? Excuse me, Jay. Gibbs, as noted earlier.
But with Blair in the ball game, he's not only difficult to box out and all that, but he clears space for other guys to grab offensive rebounds as well. That's a big deal having him on the bench.
There's their pin down series and lock. Give it to him.
Flowers the miss, and then a foul on Kevin Jones on the rebounding action. That's his first. Juan Blair on the bench. Pittsburgh down by 1 on their home floor.
Some say David Abernathy's extraordinary confidence began at birth, when he congratulated the doctor on a perfect delivery. He later approached the much older Carrie Pecor and simply said, "Call me." And she did. At 24, he performed open-heart surgery in a crowded opera house with a ballpoint pen. But when it comes to car buying, he's as nervous as anyone. So at 28, David Abernathy used Cars.com to regain his confidence and get a car.
I've got Sarah Fisk, MVP of the Anderson baby shower. Congratulations, Sarah.
Thanks, Dad. Feels really good.
What was the toughest part today?
I guess it was, pretending I actually wanted to be here. But I was able to stay focused and watch highlights from a bunch of college hoops games. So
great. What's next?
I'd really like my sister Nancy to talk to me again, but I'd settle for a ride home. Nancy!
All right, back to you in the studio.
Be an ESPN MVP. Get live GameCast, video alerts, ESPN bracketology, and more with VCast. Only from America's most entertaining network, Verizon Wireless.
Every morning for 31 years, I woke up and thought about protecting your children, your family, and your property. I'm Dennis Dillon, the former district attorney for Nassau County. After retiring, I found a group of lawyers that adhere to the same principles that protected you those 31 years. Together we are DeGarabedian and Dillon. Known as a top-rated criminal defense firm, we're also a successful personal injury law firm. No one is prepared for life's tragedies, but if they happen, count on the firm of DeGarabedian and Dillon.
DeGarabedian and Dillon. Proceed with confidence.
Through the years, many things pass from father to son, like Aqua Velva Aftershave. Smells great, cools, firms, and tones. Cool. Aqua Velva, men get it.
Wake up your whiskers with Electric Shave.
Electric Shave!
Stands up whiskers for an up to 52% closer shave.
Man, that was close.
Electric Shave. Blade close. Electric smooth.
I'm Reese Davis. The dominant story in sports today. Alex Rodriguez admits he took performance-enhancing drugs.
I got caught up in this everybody's doing it era. So, why not experiment with X, Y, or Z? And, there's absolutely no excuses. And I feel, deep regret for that.
An extended version of Rodriguez's conversation with Peter Gammons coming up on SportsCenter around 11 o'clock Eastern Time tonight. You can always stay current with ESPN News.
All right, Reese, thank you. Back here at the Petersen Event Center, Pittsburgh playing most of this first half without DeJuan Blair. Jay, we see the impact that his foul trouble has had. Their losses against Louisville and Villanova, he's had foul trouble. But you asked Bob Huggins today at the shoot-around, can you get Blair? Is that part of the plan? Can you get him in foul trouble? And Huggins didn't think they could. He said, we really don't have that big physical presence inside who can get him into foul trouble.
Yeah, and part of it is involving him in screening. If you can get him into some pick-and-roll situations, maybe you can attack him off a hard hedge or get into his hip, and he'll pick up a foul that way. Yeah, he picked up quite a few fouls last season by reaching in and reaches 90 feet from the basket. But they can't afford to have him on the bench that long. And that is a real problem for Pittsburgh, and something that they've got to work with him to stay out of foul trouble in important games.
And of course, the other end of it too, Jay, you're chasing West Virginia on the perimeter. Eventually, you get a little bit tired, you reach in and do something silly. He got 2 cheapies almost for a guy with that bulk.
Nasir Robinson, who's a deep bench player for Pittsburgh, missed everything with the front end of the one-on-one. He's 4 for 10 now from the line for the year. Sam Young, the steal. And Thurman in the game back defending, and Young scores over him to give Pittsburgh the lead. Their offense stagnant without Blair here in the first half.
And that was a scouting report steal. They walked through that today. Terrific read playing the passing lane.
And just not a good pass by Kevin Jones. I mean, you got to do a better job, make a pass fake.
Alex Ruoff back in, and he hits a 3. He made 98 threes last year. That was second in the Big East. And he has made 59 this season.
He's got a tough match with Dixon here. Move the legs and don't reach.
Ashton Gibbs, a deep 3. It's just not bounds to West Virginia.
That's just not a good shot. I mean, Ashton Gibbs is a good shooter, but that's a bad shot.
And Jay, this is what we were talking about, the ability to get into that passing lane. That's all preparation. They go to the other end. Young, a guy we think would step up, able to finish this off with a beautiful little kiss, but wonderful read at the other end.
Well, when Cam Thurman pops out to catch that pass, he needs to get into the body of his defender and lock him down so he can't get out and steal that.
Battle for the rebound, and on the alternating possession, it'll go to Sam Young and the Pittsburgh Panthers, trailing by 2 with under 6 minutes to go in the first half. Big Monday presented by Bud Light, the start of rivalry week. Brought to you by Cisco. Great lineup of games all week long. Vance Fields returns with his 2 fouls. Coming off a school record 16 assist game Saturday at the Ball.
Sorry, Sean. You got experience on Ruoff and Fields. See if they can play without that third one. A lot of trust involved.
Robinson had trouble with the pass from Fields. Young, the pull-up. How smooth was that?
You gamble like that, you end up putting pressure on others and give up a goal.
I was just thinking that, the gamble. And any time that Pittsburgh is putting Truck Bryant in a pick-and-roll situation, they are getting something good.
Sam Young has 7.
You got to give West Virginia credit. They are hanging tough with a makeshift lineup.
Good defense by Robinson to deny the pass into the low post.
Boy, he used great footwork, Sean, and extended.
Fields, the senior, underneath the Dixon.
Well, all of a sudden, West Virginia D and Bobby Huggins with the timeout because of it. A lot of gambling, not basic, not happy.
Vance Fields just a little back cut, and Kevin Jones got caught ball watching, and there's the gamble. Bill, and Young is a very good pull-up jump shooter. That used to be his strength, was the mid-range jump shot. Now he's taking it out to three-point range as well.
Well, we mentioned the great lineup of games throughout rivalry week. None better than the matchups we'll bring you Wednesday night hoops presented by Disney Parks. Bill and I will be at Gamble Pavilion for #1 Connecticut against Syracuse, followed at 9 o'clock by 3 versus 5 North Carolina and Duke, as a new chapter will be written in one of the great rivalries in all of college athletics. That game is subject to blackouts. For more information, log on to ESPN.com.
We'll be at Gamble, and he'll be down there with his pom-poms.
I'll be in the studio with Hubert Davis.
Oh, that'll be fun. You've done that before with it, right?
Yeah, couldn't be better.
I meant that rivalry. I know you've been there frequently.
Oh, too many times.
9-3 run for the Pitt Panthers as they've taken a 2-point lead.
This movement takes away some of Pitt's strength defensively. I mean, they really have to work.
Well, they can't bump you as hard on a cut. Truck.
Yeah, that's why they nicknamed him Truck. He has the tendency to put his head down and drive to the bucket. Not successfully that time. Well, Vance Fields will pull it out. Senior from Brooklyn.
There's that automatic switch. They try and do it with everybody but Bryant.
4 minutes to go in the half, and Fields traveled.
Pretty good job by Cam Thurman to move his feet and stay in front and force it. Bob Huggins has gone an awfully long time in this game with Deshaun Butler on the bench. He can get all the way to halftime with Butler with only 2 fouls and still be right in this game. That's going to have been a good job by this makeshift lineup. There's a good cut that forced a foul by Jermaine Dixon. Good job.
Jermaine Dixon called for the foul, his first. West Virginia will be
rivalry week
in possession of the ball when we come back.
Rivalries never die all week long.
The 2009 Bassmaster Classic, February 21st and 22nd, only on ESPN2.
Whenever you buy a new car, you have to sign a contract. But what about the company selling it to you? Where's their signature? Introducing Hyundai Assurance. Now finance or lease any new Hyundai, and if you lose your income in the next year, you can return it with no impact on your credit. Sound too good to be true? Come and see us and we'll put it in writing for you. Visit HyundaiUSA.com for details.
You should call me sometime.
Absolutely.
Hello?
Hi, it's Mike from the party. How about dinner?
Okay.
Spicy chicken enchilada platters from Taco Bell?
That was fast.
Waiting's overrated.
Taco Bell's new spicy chicken enchilada platter with zesty enchilada sauce and gooey melted cheese. It's enchiladas at the speed of Taco Bell.
Mom, Dad?
Is this her?
Think outside the bun.
Anyone that moves against the International has ended up dead or disappeared.
Critics are calling The International an electrifying thriller that will pin you to your seat.
They control everything.
Brilliant, suspenseful, exciting.
How could they possibly have found out?
The International crackles with tension.
Send a message.
The perfect thriller for our times.
There has to be a way to bring down this bank.
This Friday,
This isn't over.
Clive Owen, Naomi Watts.
Drop the gun!
The International, rated R, opens everywhere Friday.
I'm Reese Davis. Coming up on the UPS Halftime Report, the story of the day in sports. Alex Rodriguez admits to steroid use, what he did, why he did it, and part of the conversation with Peter Gammons. We'll also talk plenty of college hoops with Digger Phelps. We'll see you in a bit, Sean.
All right, Reese, thank you. It's Big Monday presented by Bud Light. Low-scoring game. Both teams impacted by foul trouble. Their best players. Juan Blair early on got 2 fouls for Pittsburgh. Deshaun Butler's played only 7 minutes in this first half for West Virginia. Ruoff, Butler, and Bryant all with 2 for the Mountaineers. Blair and Fields 2 apiece. Blair has 2 fouls, 5 rebounds in 5 minutes.
They run nice little either flex or double for Ruoff on the out of bounds. Nice help.
Jermaine Dixon, the block on Ruoff, and the push the other way. Trouble on the catch by Nasir Robinson. Bryant off for Ebanks. Missed the layup.
Pretty good catch, too. They had some heat on it.
Well, up and down action for the first time tonight. This brings them in a crawl due to the whistles.
That shot fake, everybody goes for it.
It's amazing.
It is so exaggerated, almost cartoonish, and defenders go for it. It's amazing.
He's been doing it against some pretty good defenders as well.
And it's not like that scouting report isn't out. It's just hard to, that's why you want to exaggerate a shot fake. That's the way coaches teach it, and Sam Young is an expert at it.
He has 9 points tonight. Pitt by 4. And it's still a 4-point edge after the 3-point miss by Ruoff, rebounded by Young.
This is a stretch where the game can get away from West Virginia a little bit if they're not careful.
Fields likes to freeze you with that bounce and tee it up for, oh, I thought he should have had that. They get the foul instead on Bryant.
After the save by Robinson, he flipped it out near midcourt, and then Bryant got called for his 3rd foul. He's their starting point guard.
The most exaggerated shot fake in college basketball, and that gets Cam Thurman just to lift up to give that baseline to Sam Young. And Young is one of the best players in the Big East and in the country. Probably doesn't get the acclaim he deserves.
Not a player, too. But you almost think he's kidding on the pump fake. I'm not going for that. People just raise those eyebrows sometimes.
Fields made the first and the second, so now Pittsburgh matches its largest lead of the game. They led 6-0. Ashton Gibbs comes back in for Fields. Jamie Dixon doesn't want LaVance to get his 3rd foul with 2.5 to go.
And how efficient has Fields been, especially over his last 3 games?
16 assists. I mean, unbelievable, huh?
16, yeah. Well, he's averaged 12 assists in his last 3 games, and only 1 turnover.
That's pretty good assist-to-turnover ratio. 36 assists, 3 turnovers in the last 3 games. You wonder why they've scored 90 or more in all of them.
Ruoff does a great job, and Gibbs fought him for that post-up.
Flowers should have given him the ball.
Yeah, he should have.
Wellington Smith, strong drive and the finish for the junior from Summit, New Jersey, out of Blair Academy.
Jamie a little upset, not containing on the dribble. They've had a problem with that.
Smith is such a good athlete. If he can add a little more offense to his game, he could really be a big help. A good shot blocker as well.
I would take Roof on the bounce, try and get that third. Because Fields would have been a guy on those automatic switches. Here it is again. Now he's got Dixon. If I were Dixon, I'd get it and go.
A length on the perimeter right now for West Virginia with Ebanks and Flowers.
Good defense by Ebanks on the Gibbs drive with the shot clock running out.
Oh, goodness. Got to see it, but not a good delivery either.
Yeah, Smith wasn't expecting the pass, and then the foul at the other end.
Well, it's a team that frequently plays without a point guard. Bryant, a kind of a guy that is a combo, but out here you've got all wing people running a show, and that really is a problem.
Well, Smith just wasn't looking, and that was a freshman foul by Devin Ebanks. Just a little flick of the wrist that wasn't going to do anything to Sam Young when he was going to the basket. Just let him go.
First foul on Ebanks, the 10th team foul, the double bonus with 1:12 to go. Young finishes the three-point play. He has 12. He has 9 games this season of 20 points or more.
Boy, that's a big giveaway. You don't get anything and they get the opportunity at the other end for 3. Devastating.
Well, Pittsburgh is making West Virginia run right through their chest on cuts.
Jump hook wouldn't go for Kevin Jones. This is the largest lead for Pitt now. And Jamie Dixon wants a timeout with 49 seconds left in the half and 31 to shoot.
Corkscrew hook.
We remind you, Wednesday on ESPN, Rivalry Week continues with a great doubleheader at 7. It's the old school Big East rivalry. 22nd ranked Syracuse and #1 Connecticut. Hall of Fame coaches jockeying for position on the all-time wins list. And then at 9 Eastern time, North Carolina and Duke. The game subject to blackouts. Actually, the telecast is. Hopefully the game, we won't have any blackouts. Wednesday night hoops presented by Disney Parks.
Well, how about that? That night, you got 4 coaches in the Naismith Basketball Hall of Fame, back to back. That's pretty good.
And all of them great players, such as yourself.
Tyler Hansbrough now 182 points from J.J. Redick on the ACC's all-time scoring list. Singler, their leading scorer, with Gerald Henderson also better than 15 points per game.
I think that kid is terrific, by the way. That's both of them, but Kyle is does so many things.
Well, both tough players. And Gerald Henderson has played his best basketball in ACC plays, averaging 20 points per game in the ACC.
A little pure zone here.
It's 1-3-1. Huh?
Now they just exchange it. That's their typical matchup. It bends to where you put people.
That's a 1-3-1. They're just matching up out of it.
Levance Fields with the shot clock ticking down. Wanamaker goes right back up and has it blocked. He could have pulled it out and taken the last shot of the half.
Plenty of time here. What a great stop for West Virginia.
And Ebanks is operating almost as a point guard now.
We got the reach in, a little small change. And once again, Ruoff showing how he can hold off. Is that Wanamaker down there? Yep.
You don't want to foul there because that wasn't a very good angle to feed the post. It was leading Ruoff essentially into the corner.
First foul on Wanamaker. So Ruoff, their best free throw shooter at the line, 82%. Comes in having made his last 11 free throws. He's 6th in the Big East at 82%.
I think they're going to take Ruoff. I thought they were going to take him out after he shot. Yeah.
That's what they do, just so they can set their defense.
Exactly, and he doesn't get another one.
I think it's primarily just so they could set and not allow a quick inbound.
Well, it could be both. I don't like to pick sides when you two have your many petty disputes.
Our petty differences.
Dixon steps into a very long 3. Thurman hits the floor. Bob Huggins says, where's the foul on that? He's not going to get it. Pittsburgh ended the half on a 16-7 run. Hopefully we'll see the Stars play in the second half. Very little time on the court for Blair and Butler due to the foul difficulties. At the break, 29-24 in favor of Pitt. Let's send you back to Reese Davis in the studio of the UPS halftime report.
All right, Sean, 5-point lead for the Panthers. The initial reaction is Pittsburgh would probably feel pretty good being up by 5 with Blair having played so little, but you could make the same point for West Virginia and how little Butler's been able to be on the floor.
Yeah, don't forget, Blair is the guy. When they lost their 2 games to Villanova and Louisville, Blair gets in foul trouble, and that was the issue to those losses. Will it be an issue? We'll have to wait and see in the second half. But credit what went on in that first half to get that run at the end. When you look at Blair now coming down, there's foul number 1. And it's just one of those fouls you say, why did they do that? And now, within 5 minutes of the first half, here comes the second one. And he doesn't need to do that. And so when you look at him getting in quick foul trouble, only playing 5 minutes in the first half, this still gives West Virginia hope because we still got the second half, knowing that if Deshaun Butler gets back in this game with Ruoff, they've got offense.
So the finer point of coaching in this instance is to say, hey, don't do that. Right?
Yeah, right.
Tell me saying. That's what you said.
Nevertheless, he's got 2 fouls, only played 5 minutes.
That's true. We'll talk more college basketball coming up in just a few moments. But 104 baseball players tested positive for performance-enhancing drugs.
Welcome back to the UPS Halftime Report.
Blair and Fields in foul trouble. The senior has to step up. Sam Young has a dozen. Pittsburgh up by 5 on West Virginia. Here are the plays of the week.
Gets another block. Curry blocked by Wiggins. At the buzzer. Griffin is way up there. Josh Gill, slam dunk.
Chris Paul-esque.
Glad to see Yadi Daganduro make it for that dive on Plays of the Week. Something else to watch for in the Big 12 tonight. Kansas and Missouri. Kansas 8-0 in Big 12 play for the first time since the 04-05 season. Missouri's fared well against ranked teams. Mike Anderson's club claims it's the fastest 40 minutes in basketball. They're at home. Home teams win a lot. Could be a great opportunity, Digger, for a statement game for Missouri.
Absolutely, and I think the battle's going to be in the paint. I think when you look at what goes on with Damari Carroll and the way he can play, big guy, 6'9", double-double guy, and it's obvious we've seen Cole Aldridge do what he's done to keep the stability of what goes on inside. But this player, 31 points, 9 rebounds at Iowa State over the weekend. And Missouri shot 57% from the field, so it's not just him. Guys like King English, and they shot 9 for 16 on threes. The biggest thing about when you look at Cole Aldridge, he can go inside and outside, and that's going to be an interesting matchup because I think the battle of this game has got to be one inside, points in the paint, who controls the boards. That's how you get your transition game going for Sharon College to get Mario Little involved and these other young players. That will be interesting to see how Bill Self, does he want to go up and down, or does he want to let Sharon Collins run this team at half court, play the solid defense, and get the win on the road? Just win and get out because they are unbeaten in the Big 12.
Handling the press will be key for the Jayhawks for sure. Kansas, Missouri coming up 9 o'clock Eastern Time, the second part of Big Monday. UPS Halftime Report, part of Rivalry Week. Rolls on after this.
This halftime report is delivered by UPS. What can Brown do for you?
Welcome back to the Petersen Event Center in Pittsburgh and Big Monday presented by Bud Light, the beginning of Rivalry Week. Brought to you by Cisco on ESPN. Two schools separated by 75 miles. Meeting for the 177th time. Pittsburgh with a 5-point lead. Let's take a look at our side-by-side brought to you by Cars.com. Unfortunately, Butler and Blair spent much of the first half side-by-side with their coaches.
Yeah, they picked up those 2 early fouls each and spent the rest of the first half on the bench. And I think it's actually a little bit remarkable considering Alex Ruoff had 2, Deshaun Butler had 2, and Trent Bryant had 3 fouls. That West Virginia's still in decent shape in this game.
Butler's 5th shot of the game still hasn't made one. He played only 7 minutes in the first half. He scored at least 17 points in each of their last 8 games coming in. He's been one of the hottest players in the country.
So watch out for Blair now because he looks like he's involved. That last rebounding trip, a little more aggressive, maybe frustrated because of the lack of minutes.
Levance Fields, he was saddled with 2 fouls much of the first half.
Pretty
some time on the pine. A beautiful entry into DeJuan Blair for his first bucket of the night.
His chest can take any impact on a screen and then a slip.
Well, the screen roll, but what about the pass left-handed around the defender? Beautifully delivered by Levance Fields.
Deshaun Butler, Devin Ebanks, now Alex Ruoff for 3.
So screen and pop, they haven't been able to get it. He doesn't need much of a cushion.
He sets those feet awfully quickly, and Alex Ruoff has turned into a versatile player. He's just a shooter when he got to West Virginia. Now he can drive it. He's a much better defender.
A player.
He's 3 out of 4 from 3 tonight after 6 out of 7 against Providence Saturday. That time Dixon a nice entry into Blair. And 4 quick points for DeJuan. And a timeout called by West Virginia.
DeJuan Blair is one of those players that always thinks he's open. It's just the right angle. And they found the right angle there. The screen roll not picked up. What a great delivery by Fields.
The understanding of what to release and not push. The big fella moving.
Syracuse, Connecticut, North Carolina, Duke, Wednesday on ESPN.
Can you tell me which one of these offers an EPA estimated 33 miles per gallon on the highway? Here, let me help you out. See ya, Honda Accord. Bye-bye, Toyota Camry LE. The 5-star crash test rated Chevy Malibu. Here's something else. During the Chevy President's Day sale, get 0% APR financing for 60 months on Malibu. That's an average savings of around $4,000. See your local Chevy dealer today.
Hello, America. As your Secretary of Taste, I'm implementing a taste stimulus package, and Domino's American Legends are the cornerstone. So whether you're some yoga babe who digs tasty veggies or a lumberjack craving steak and 40% more cheese. Hello, Mr. President. Tell them taste is on the way. Ask not what your crust can do for you. Ask if it has cheese on it.
Introducing Domino's American Legends. 6 legendary American tastes like the Pacific Veggie and Honolulu Hawaiian, each with a cheesy crust. From Domino's.
My name's Kylie. I took a picture of my fish Dorothy, and I'm going to send it to my family. I plug this thingy in here, and now you click this. I'm going to make this picture much better. I click, it's better. I'm going to send it to my mom and dad. Say cheese. I'm a PC and I'm 4.5.
I couldn't find a card that truly encompassed the depth of my feelings, so I made one by hand.
Because you're not that guy, there's Helzberg Diamonds. Be a hero with this pendant. Value priced at $149.99. Helzberg Diamonds, helping regular guys since 1915.
And welcome back to the beautiful Petersen Event Center on the campus of the University of Pittsburgh. Sold out as it has been for every game of its 7-year history. DeJuan Blair, scoreless, only 2 field goal attempts in the first half. The 2 fouls kept him on the bench most of the half. Off to a quick start. Pittsburgh has opened both halves quickly offensively tonight.
Pittsburgh wears on you. The great second half against West Virginia in their first game. That's what you were talking about. Ruoff mixing his game up.
This goes right into the defender, able to turn the corner, but when it looked like he wouldn't be able to turn it, he just was resolute that he was going to get into the lane, even though it wasn't a straight line drive.
Jermaine Dixon called for his second foul. So now Ruoff, and you talk about the development of his all-around game. I've already mentioned one of the best free throw shooters in the league. He's third all-time at West Virginia in three-point field goals made, but he's 7th in career steals, and he's 10th in career assists, despite the fact that he's not really been a true point guard most of the time off the ball.
Over 376 assists. That's phenomenal. You're right. He's committed as a wingman scorer.
And a great student, ESPN, the magazine, academic All-American, 3.8 in history.
Look at the mismatch.
When you fade away, go right into him. You got Deshaun Butler on. He's got foul trouble.
And foul on West Virginia after the shot, and it's on Ruoff, and that's his third.
Blair's got Butler. Nice little face-up, but you don't want to fade away. You should have put the ball on the floor.
And Jermaine Dixon scores on the inbounding play.
This Pittsburgh team is a very good screening team, and they've got some big bodies that are hard for these thin-waisted West Virginia players to negotiate.
This is a dangerous time right now, Sean. They got to score. Pitt can shut you out a few trips.
Fields the push, and then Smith fouls him from behind. Hard fall by Fields. You could hear his skin scraping across the Petersen Center floor. 2 fouls on Wellington Smith.
Now this is just a basketball play. Unfortunately, the feet get tangled up. But you got some tickers in Fields and Blair missing most of that first half. 11 minutes for Fields and only 5 for Blair. Devastating.
Trouble on the dribble by Young. There's a turnover waiting to happen, and Jermaine Dixon lost it. Bryant makes the acrobatic layup.
Got to give a lot of credit to Wellington Smith for diving on the floor to go after that loose ball. And that was a big and important play for West Virginia to get that.
Under Fields, not bad.
Juwan Blair making the moves inside. And last touch by Pitt. Dangerous play by Butler. He reached in and managed to slap the ball away.
A shot of Bobby Huggins over there alongside of Billy Hahn. Well, I'm happy to hear. He was telling me his wife had not been feeling well. Daughter Ashley helping out. Good for them. Working hard. And the best goes to that family. His son Matt's up at Vermont as an assistant coach. Billy Hahn's son.
Deshaun Butler still can't buy a bucket. And it'll be Pittsburgh ball with a 4-point lead. Less than 4 minutes gone by here in the second half. Pitt won the earlier meeting between these two 15 days ago. They've won 5 of the last 6 overall. West Virginia leads this great rivalry all time 93-83. Do you know what happened, by the way, fellas? 114 years ago tonight. You were there. Yeah. The first game ever between 2 colleges. On this date in 1895, Minnesota School of Agriculture beat Hamlin 9-3. 14 now for Sam Young after his first bucket. The 2 teams back then played with 9 players aside.
Sam Young didn't care either.
No. Just a fun trivia fact here on Rivalry Week. Or maybe not so fun. But we hope it is a fact.
Jones on the floor can take Blair away from the basket, which should help someone like help by Fields.
And he kicked it out of bounds.
And Jamie with the one-handed pickup. Pretty acrobatic for his days at TCU.
Well, Sam Young can not only go outside, but he gives a little shove to Butler and creates that space. They just throw over the top, and Sam Young is very athletic getting off the floor.
And Butler has been shooting that deep one well. I'm not so sure that was a good one.
Butler is now 0 for 7 from the floor. Tyrell Biggs. There's Fields peeling his hand away to try to avoid going over the back. Bob Huggins thought he was the last to touch it. The officials do not concur. It's a 6-point lead for Pittsburgh.
We designed it to go 0 to 60 in 5.3 seconds, making it faster and more fuel efficient on the highway than a BMW 550i. The Pontiac G8 GT. Want to see it again? Here's something else you should know. During the President's Day sale, get 0% financing for 60 months or $3,000 total cash back on the 361 horsepower G8 GT. Find your dealer at bpgdealers.com.
Heard about the problems we've been having?
Nope.
3G dead zones all over. Internet slow here, non-existent here. Trent, show them where we've been losing emails.
Here.
We have Verizon.
You've got 3G there.
Oh.
For coverage where you need it, get America's largest and most reliable 3G network, Verizon Wireless. And get great messaging phones on sale like the NV2 for $49.99.
How can the oil industry in the North Sea impact fishing markets in Japan, marine legislation in the U.S., and food consumption in Italy? At T. Rowe Price, we understand the connections of a complex global economy. It's just one reason to consider our disciplined investment approach. T. Rowe Price. Invest with confidence. Request a prospectus or profile with investment objectives, risks, fees, expenses, and more information to read and consider carefully before investing.
Think about it. This is what makes the Ladders different from other job search sites. We only want the big jobs. Welcome to the Ladders, a premium job site for only 100K plus jobs and only 100K plus talent.
Reese Davis with you, getting you up to date on Duke and North Carolina. Can't wait until Wednesday. We'll go ahead and give it to you now. Also, Tara de Raftery going all Ty Lawson on the people. Emily Lucas with the finish. And Duke has a 2-point lead on Carolina at the half.
All right, Reese, thank you. Of course, the Duke and Carolina men will meet Wednesday night, 9 o'clock on ESPN, a part of Rivalry Week presented by Cisco. Pittsburgh leads this one by 6. During the timeout, Bob Huggins spent some time talking to Carl Hess. He thought this should have been a foul on Levance Fields, which would have been his third. That's a big no call, and the bonus, Pittsburgh gets the ball, too.
Yeah, given the contact that's been called in this game, that would certainly qualify as a foul. You wouldn't look sideways. Now they call a foul on Deshaun Butler. See, that's what you're talking about. With that kind of contact, that's what they call it. I can understand Bob's point.
Young that time, I think, grabbed Butler first, and they got the arm stank. A little bit frustrating. Got to be careful not to reach over and get a technical.
You know, once you get your second foul in the first half and you're taken out of the game, it's so hard to get your rhythm back.
They don't have a guy tough enough for this kid. I mean, he may have just located the right spot on the floor to dominate. And right
Second
here,
foul on Ebanks.
How about that tip to himself as well? Extraordinary.
He's just got great hands, and he does that often with rebounds. He can tip it up off the glass and go get it with those big mitts of his. And Blair is just a load inside.
They said he was on the truck during the parade. The World Championship Pittsburgh Steelers.
Did the Steelers win the Super Bowl? You wouldn't know that walking around town here.
Pittsburgh Steelers win the Super Bowl. There's Dan Rooney.
Congratulations. One of the
classy gentlemen in all of sports, and what a remarkable franchise.
And family as well. But the thing about Blair was everybody in town recognized him as much as the players. I mean, the big smile. They love him here. And why not out of Shenley?
Well, the Steelers regularly in attendance here at the Pitt. Saw Jeff Reed, the field goal kicker, here tonight. Ebanks swoops to the bucket. And West Virginia, well within striking distance, down by 4. 12 points now for the freshman Ebanks.
And Blair just trying to, the switch was on him. Nice recovery.
4 out of the last 5 games in double figures for Ebanks. Dixon drove to the bucket, and then Biggs picked it up and scored.
A lot of ways of describing their toughness that play was. Anybody could have had that. Biggs just out-muscled people to finish it off.
And good hands to make that pickup.
4 points for Tyrell Biggs. He started the year really well and then has disappeared in terms of the offense lately. He had only 10 points total in the last 5 games coming in.
Young with a little small change.
shucked as he went to the bucket. And that'll be the second foul on Sam Young.
Now look at this. Now, anybody can have this one, Jay, but look, just wants it more, grabs it, and then the left-hand finish. Excellent understanding of what to do.
Ruoff plays it into Smith with Bryant.
Pretty.
And there's Butler with his first bucket of the night.
Just a little flex cut.
That's all. A little flare.
Pittsburgh trying to pound it inside. All 10 of their points in this half have come in the paint.
They're so strong. Ooh.
Almost like Wanamaker wasn't ready for it because that ball was a bullet.
Here's your little flex cut, Jay.
Just goes right over the top of it, and Wanamaker doesn't step up to bump that cutter.
Turnovers just about even. The game's been pretty even. West Virginia down by 4. Strong move by Butler, and then he threw it away.
And, you know, in a way, there's certain spots coaches want you when the ball goes to the box. I think Smith was moving to the rim. Maybe they want him to stay out there for that kick out.
Well, when he drives baseline or spins baseline, you'd also like to have a guy in the opposite corner if possible so you can see him and catch him for an open 3 in the corner.
Well, the switch and ball screen to the empty side.
Fields all the way to the hoop.
Where they occupy a lot of people.
They just refused the ball screen. Unusual for West Virginia not to be over there to try to draw a charge and come over from the weak side.
Butler off the mark. Do you guys believe that some buildings just aren't good for some players? Because last year here at the Pitt, Butler was 1 out of 9, and he's 1 out of 9 from the floor again tonight. Meanwhile, Wanamaker drills a 3.
I defer to Jay. He had problems in a lot of buildings.
You know, that could be true, Sean. I think the foul trouble was a bigger factor for him. You know, anytime that you're out for that long in the first half, it is so hard to establish any kind of rhythm in a ball game.
You know, Pitt has made some mental mistakes, not being on Ruoff there in the early. Here, Ruoff gets one. Is that number 4, Sean?
If it's on Ruoff, it is. And yes, that's number 4. Just moments after he hit a huge 3 when it looked like Pitt was building some momentum. Ruoff now with 4 fouls, and Cam Thurman's going to come in to the ball game. Bryant has gone out, and Ruoff will go as well.
And the puzzle is who's going to score now. With Butler struggling a little bit, he's going to have to step up.
That's 5 team fouls on West Virginia here in the second half. Wanamaker guarded by Thurman. Fields with Butler on him.
And Smith doing a pretty good job fronting Flowers' weak side help.
Well, they got Butler there on the foul. And they're just not being strong and disciplined defending. When a guy gets by him, they're leaning into it. That was clearly a foul.
And it's his 4th, so their 2 best players have 4 fouls apiece. And Butler's in the game with 4. They couldn't get a sub to the table fast enough. Fields lost the handle, and then he reaches in for the foul.
My ears hurt from all the whistles.
Well, that was a silly one for a guy like Fields getting number 3.
Ruoff and Butler, their 2 leading scorers with 4 apiece, and Bryant, their starting point guard, with 3. And now Levance Fields just collected his 3rd for Pittsburgh.
Aptly put, backyard brawl. That's what it's turned into. Not physical, but a lot of small change contact. Nothing free-flowing.
And literally, the backyard brawl has been an apt description of this rivalry. There have been fisticuffs in the past. Memorably back in 1963, Pitt beat West Virginia. Gail Catlett, then a player ejected for fighting with Brian Generalovich.
How about those 2 great names in the history of these programs?
And they were both tossed for fighting. Well, it has been a brawl over the years. Brown ahead of the pack.
Wow, what a breakdown. No balance.
Nobody moved back on the drive. And that was just a terrific pass ahead and letting Brown just run into the ball. This is where it can get away in a hurry if West Virginia isn't careful.
Yeah, they're using a lot of clock to see what they end up with. Ooh.
Good catch by Jones, and he scores inside. Kevin Jones.
love their rookies. They are talented. Jones.
He can be a really good defender. Long arms, and good athlete.
From Mount Vernon, New York, as we mentioned earlier, Lowe's Moore is a great player at West Virginia. In the late 70s, played in the NBA. He's from Mount Vernon, runs a youth program there. He knows Jones well. Way off, a three from Young. I was very surprised when Tony Caridi, the terrific broadcaster for West Virginia, said they had not had an NBA player from West Virginia since Lowe's Moore until Joe Alexander.
Wow. Look at this
with the Bucks.
By the way, where did Tony go to school?
Syracuse.
I figured you'd mention it. How about Bill Hillgrove? Give him a blow.
I'm sure he'll make his nightly appearance on our telecast before we're all done.
Those who seek to find her uncover the true face of fear. Rated M for mature.
If you think all batteries are the same, consider this. A lost child, a Brickhouse child locator. And the only battery Brickhouse trusts is Duracell. Trusted everywhere.
I've got Sarah Fisk, MVP of the Anderson Baby Shower. Congratulations, Sarah.
Thanks, Dad. Feels really good.
What was the toughest part today?
I guess it was, pretending I actually wanted to be here. But I was able to stay focused and watch highlights from a bunch of college hoops games. So.
Great. What's next?
I'd really like my sister Nancy to talk to me again, but I'd settle for a ride home. Nancy!
All right, back to you in the studio.
Be an ESPN MVP. Get live GameCast, video alerts, ESPN bracketology, and more with VCast. Only from America's most entertaining network, Verizon.
On the next new One Way Out, Jonathan Goodwin is an escape artist. That means he's got to be ready for anything. This week, anything means projectiles.
Got it. Okay.
As in, avoiding them. And avoiding becoming one of them.
It could take a body part and leave the rest of you there.
It may look like fun and games, but there's a lot that can go wrong when there's only one way out. New episode tonight at 9. It's all new on Discovery.
This is a show about things. Important things. Like apologies.
You guys don't need to castrate yourselves. Oh, you gotta be kidding. Man, I'm sorry.
Sorry won't bring my back, will it?
Innovations.
When the van first came out, creeps must have been like, okay.
Romance.
Whoa, what do we got here?
Important Things with Dimitri Martin, a super important new Comedy Central series premiering Wednesday, February 11th at 10:30.
I'm Reese Davis, Sports Center right now. With spring training just days away from opening, Alex Rodriguez rocks baseball by admitting he took steroids.
I got caught up in this everybody's doing it era. So, why not experiment with X, Y, or Z? And, there's absolutely no excuses. And I feel, deep regret for that.
An extended version of Rodriguez's conversation on Sports Center. Peter Gammons did that conversation. You'll see it after Kansas and Missouri tonight. You can always stay current with ESPN News.
All right, Reese, thank you. Tomorrow night on ESPN, Rivalry Week continues a doubleheader, 7 Eastern, the Big Ten battle. Michigan and Michigan State. The Spartans now ranked number 9 in the poll out today. And then at 9 Eastern, an SEC showdown. The Florida Gators take on the Kentucky Wildcats. Super Tuesday presented by KFC, part of Rivalry Week, presented by Cisco on ESPN.
Michigan gave Connecticut a terrific game.
Michigan is hard to play against. They have an unorthodox style, and they have some very good shooters.
Was coached by former West Virginia mentor John Beilein. Helped establish the foundation. Bob Huggins is building on it. This West Virginia program's been in the Sweet 16 3 out of the last 4 years in the NCAA tournament.
Greg Thurman's got to be careful. He's going to try and be physical, but that's what you got to put a body on him and compete against Blair down there.
Well, they're trying to front the post, and it's going to be very difficult to stay in front.
Tough shot, but he knocks it down. You need a roll of quarters to get around that third ear.
Not sure I want to know what that means.
Well, told. It's a long trip.
Bryant. That's a held ball. And on the arrow, it'll go back to Pittsburgh, leading by 8.
So here Thurman trying to get around in front, but he couldn't. Usually they like to front that low post, make him throw over the top, but DeJuan Blair not letting him get around.
All the switching, they got to take advantage of it.
Well, Blair needs to take advantage of it by just locking down his man
There you
inside.
go. He just rested down there as they were trying to rotate and cover. Great look.
With Blair out of the game with the foul difficulty in the first half, the Panthers had only 12 points in the paint. They have 16 in the paint already here in the second half. Bob Huggins and the Mountaineers facing their largest deficit of the night, a timeout called by Huggs.
I'll tell you, all the switching can confuse the offense, but the big fella understands where to go and use that body when he has to. They just can't cover all that.
Yeah, Thurman just a little bit slow in getting over there. Same thing with Ebanks, not dropping down to pick up Blair, but boy, when he locks into you, it is so hard to get around him. You can't break contact on him.
Bob trying to get guys to be tougher. It's just not the style of this team at this point, I don't think.
Well, part of the problem, I think, for West Virginia, they've not run good offense, and their offense hasn't really helped their defense. They've turned the ball over too much. That's allowed not only extra possessions for Pittsburgh, but they've allowed a few runouts and some really easy scores by the Panthers. You want to have to make Pittsburgh play against your half-court defense.
Pittsburgh was 10 out of 28 from the floor in the first half. They're 10 out of 14 in the second half, as you saw in the graphic.
Dixon doing a good job getting out of Ruoff. Stumbles a little bit.
And Bob Huggins isn't going to wait any longer with Ruoff struggling on offense without their top 2 scorers. Butler and Ruoff both on the bench with 4 fouls. He's put Ruoff back in. But it's Gibbs with a deep 2, and Pittsburgh continues to pull away.
You ought to get into coaching. He's got Butler coming in now, too. And you're right. It's pull away. You don't want to lose. Wait till the end and lose it.
Well, as you said, Bill, in the first meeting, West Virginia hung in there for about 30 minutes and then got worn down by Pittsburgh, and Pittsburgh again pulling away in the second half.
In the chest defense, it wears on you, and you get a double dribble here.
So Deshaun Butler will come back in. West Virginia now battling just to stay in the ball game.
This has just been methodical in the second half by Pittsburgh.
Well, you were saying at halftime, Jay, you take 2 starters out and stars. It's a whole different team for any team, particularly Pitt and Blair turning right into the traffic. I don't think he had time to turn.
There's no question this was a foul.
Now watch though.
Watch his arm here.
Don't you think he has a right?
No.
To come down?
Not there.
I think he was under it. Usually stick up for the big guys.
That defender had a right to that spot. Blair
did he
was
get
the one
there?
That went into them.
Did he get there before he came down? Is my point.
Yeah, he was on his feet there.
DeJuan Blair just got a technical, so that is 2 personals picked up there in that sequence, giving him 4. Ruoff misses the first free throw.
That is major. Let the coach do the talking.
And the second one rattles in, and now it'll be West Virginia ball.
Who was there? That defender's entitled to that spot.
I don't think he was there. I think you have a right to come down.
Well, he came down, then he turned and hit him with his arms.
That was after the fact.
So Blair, what a big development that is, and now Dixon gets called for holding Ruoff away from the ball. And both teams now with 6 team fouls in the half, 1 away from the bonus.
This is not a happy crowd.
Well, it's difficult to keep from getting frustrated as a player out there, and the players are going to have to do a good job of keeping their poise.
Jones to Bryant. Out there with Ebanks, Butler, and Ruoff. Butler missed the three. Ruoff slapping at the ball, has to be careful. He has 4 fouls. He's defending Dixon, and he blocked the shot out of bounds.
A nice hustle as well with Ebanks right behind him. Ruoff took a shot in the head, I guess.
From Ebanks. From his teammate. Ebanks coming over there to block it. Might have inadvertently hit Ruoff in the back of the head.
Very sympathetic audience, much like I was when you got that contusion up in Boston.
My hematoma.
The hematoma.
From which I barely recovered months later, courageously. Well, Fields playing with 3 fouls. Blair back on the bench with 4 after the personal and technical. Fields the left-handed layup.
And Biggs providing the same kind of screen. How about that? Young and Ruoff ran into one another, but Biggs holding off, opened up that lane.
Ruoff guarded by Dixon. This defense tonight is more along the lines of what Jamie Dixon has come to expect from his team over the years and hasn't seen in recent games. Young the rebound to the Ruoff miss. Pittsburgh trying to build on its largest lead tonight.
Too easy and nobody ready to stop the dribbler. Not Bob Huggins basketball.
Ruoff is just fouled out to the delight of the partisans in the Oakland Zoo student section. 7:18 to go. West Virginia down by 13.
Math is the only language all human beings share.
Math can better predict financial markets.
Stop a pandemic.
Tell us how jets fly before we even build them.
Math can help us make the world work better.
Here's an equation that can help you get to work on time.
Math can do anything.
Predict mutations.
Fix the economy.
Protein folding.
Telematics.
Math can make the world smarter.
Smarter houses.
Smarter medicine.
Smarter systems.
Grocery stores.
Supply chain. Math solves problems.
That's what we're working on. I'm an IBMer.
Let's build
a
smarter planet.
Batter's up, and so is Jones, checking the sign to the men's room.
Oh, not the first time. He's going over and over.
Now Johnson's rounding the corner, heading for the men's room.
Going urgently.
You bet. Carter steps out. He was in there a long time.
Stopping and starting. These guys should see their doctor.
Good point. Could be male urinary symptoms due to BPH, an enlarged prostate.
For many guys, prescription Flomax reduces their urinary symptoms due to BPH in 1 week.
1 week?
Only your doctor can tell if you have BPH, not a more serious condition like prostate cancer.
Avoid driving or hazardous tasks for 12 hours after your first dose or increase in dose, as a sudden drop in blood pressure may occur, rarely resulting in fainting. If considering cataract surgery, tell your eye surgeon you've taken Flomax.
Common side effects are runny nose, dizziness, and decrease in semen.
Ask your doctor if Flomax is right for you.
Call 877-4FLOMAX to see if you qualify for up to $40 off Flomax prescription.
For many men, Flomax can make a difference in 1 week.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Cisco. Welcome to the Human Network. And the Hyundai Assurance, an automaker that's got your back. Isn't that a nice change?
Intense rivalry from the Big 12 coming up on Big Monday. Sharon Collins in Kansas trying to walk into Missouri and deal with Mike Anderson's press. Coming up 9 o'clock Eastern Time.
All right, thank you, Reese. Here it's the start of rivalry week, presented by Cisco. Pittsburgh leading by 13, and more bad news for West Virginia. Alex Ruoff, who leads all scorers with 17 points tonight, has just fouled out for the Mountaineers.
Not easy to play without your stalwarts when you don't have much on the Pines. A pretty frustrating night, I think, for that guy. You don't think he's mellowed? I do.
Yeah, I think he has. He had to. I mean, he had a heart attack in 2002. And I think for his own health and well-being, he needed to mellow out a little bit. And we're very happy you had your annual physical here at Pittsburgh today, and everything went great.
Do you have any good thoughts you want to share with the country?
Yes. I'm happy to spread the news of your good health, which is a shock to many medical professionals, but it continues miraculously year after year.
It's amazing what you can do to overcome late evenings with you two.
That embalming fluid working out well.
Countdown to our action on Wednesday. Syracuse, UConn, North Carolina, and Duke. Less than 48 hours away now. It starts at 7 o'clock Wednesday night. Jones in the right place after a miss by Butler.
Butler's got to change his game a little. He's settling deep, put it on the deck and post up a little bit.
Well, part of that's the rhythm. He hadn't had any in this game. He's starting to force things. I mean, when a scorer isn't getting his normal shots, it's very difficult to establish that rhythm later on in the game.
Young's been getting his shots and making them up to 16 points now for Sam.
Is that what Johnny Dawkins told you?
Yeah, he told me that. That and get out of the way. I've got an angle.
What a great talent. They don't give you lanes. I mean, that looked open, and the hands went up, shadowing it and protecting.
Running out of time on the shot clock. Bryant.
Look at this run out.
Must have been blocked by Dixon, and he leaks out and scores.
I'll tell you what, Trent Bryant, that was a difficult shot, but I thought he got fouled. I thought when he was trying to turn the corner there, the defender put his hands on him, and I thought he fouled.
Tell you what, though, you don't make mistakes against this team. If you have an orange shot, you better protect. That's a number of runouts lately.
Wellington Smith. A 3-ball out of the corner. Just his 10th 3 of the year. It gets West Virginia back within 14 points. 5 points tonight now for Wellington Smith.
That's his game. He's a good standstill shooter. He's an even better driver. And if he can improve his offense, he's such a terrific athlete.
Wanamaker is open, and he's been a hot player lately for Pittsburgh. Double figures in 3 of the last 4 entering tonight. And he has 6 tonight.
Wanamaker open by a mile. Dribble drive, kick. They get the puppy set.
He had hit 15 of his last 22 coming into this game. And this is a confident offense by the Pittsburgh Panthers. Stepping into his shot, came down in the same spot he took off from.
Relentless, and so's that guy.
He's their leading scorer off the bench, averaging 6 per game. Wednesday Night Hoops presented by Disney Parks. Hard to imagine a better college basketball doubleheader than that lineup. 2 great rivalries in the Big East, Syracuse and Connecticut. And then North Carolina and Duke at 9 Eastern time. Part of Rivalry Week presented by Cisco on ESPN. For more information, log on to ESPN.com. Then we'll be in Hartford next Monday night when these Pittsburgh Panthers are at the XL Center downtown to take on Connecticut.
Pretty exciting times, as both of you mentioned. Hall of Famers on the bench and great players on the floor.
I'm not sure that Tyler Hansbrough, I don't think Tyler Hansbrough's ever lost in Cameron Indoor Stadium.
Whew.
Nice pass by Bryant to Deshaun Butler. Just 4 points for Butler, who's been in double figures in each of the last 14, and in 21 out of 23 this year. He'll have to hustle to make double digits tonight.
Well, Pitt got lost on that play. Speaking of getting lost, they're heavy lost.
That'll be it for Butler.
Yep, he's done. So both Butler and Ruoff, their top 2 scorers, have fouled out tonight, and they're not going to win when that happens.
No, not at all. They need everything going, and when they do have it, they're pretty tough.
Third time this year Butler has fouled out, and the second time that Ruoff has been disqualified on fouls. It's a season low 4 points tonight.
And Bob using all 20 seconds. Larry Harrison alongside Bobby, former head coach at Hartford. They were together in Cincy. There's Billy Hahn, we mentioned earlier. Lindsay trying to explain something to Bobby. I think you would even lose an argument with him.
I've already lost many with him.
What? Did I hear that correctly? Did you concede that
nobody wins an argument with Bob Huggins?
You didn't quit, though. You just ran out of time.
He had to get to his next argument.
Young converting from the free throw line. He's going very soon to move into the top 10 in scoring all time at Pitt. 1,603 points starting into tonight, and 18 tonight. He's now 12 away from tying Brian Shorter for 10th place all time at Pitt.
You know, Jay, it's so hard to follow these cutters, and they've done an excellent job, Pitt. And they are running quickly, ball reversal. It is a task that is difficult.
And one of the things Pitt doesn't get as much credit for as they deserve is they're a pretty good transition team.
Yeah, they sneaky. They sneak fast break.
Well, talking to Tommy Harrion, the outstanding assistant coach for Pitt before the game tonight, I said that to him, and he said, well, you have one of the best rebounders, one of the best point guards in the country. Why wouldn't you get the rebound, get out and run a little bit?
And it's great to have a guy with that experience next to you. Then a head coach, of course, longtime assistant to Pete Gillen. And there's my guy, Brendan. Seton Hall Prep dad, as you well know, has worked with us at Seton Hall, my first captain, he and Gary Cavallo. And this kid came in his first year. They played St. John's at opening big Monday, and they got wasted. Ben's first year, Ben Howland, and the rest was like an upward climb, steady, and then Jamie took control and moved it up another notch.
I think of the great point guard thing. There's a lot of great traditions that Pittsburgh has established in their program in recent years. But Levance Fields this year became the 6th player in Pitt history with 1,000 points or more and 500 assists. Carl Krauser, Brandon Knight, who we saw, Jerry McCullough, Sean Miller, Jarrell Porter. And there are some outstanding performers in that list.
Yeah, Matthews, Curtis Aiken. I mean, you go way back.
Fields locks it underneath. And 3 seconds on the shot clock. They draw a foul. So cognizant of game situations. Jerry Weinreich, the call coach, called Fields the consummate team leader. He is that.
They got everything.
Not everything.
That's not mine.
Yo, you covered for this?
I don't know.
You need to call my agent.
You should know you're covered.
Come on, man. It's not mine.
Call one of our 17,000 State Farm agents today.
Pizza Hut went all the way to Rome to surprise real Italians with our new Tuscany lasagna.
Veramente mi ricorda quella di mia mamma. Lasagna superba.
Scusate, le lasagne che avete mangiato sono delle lasagne di Pizza Hut.
New Tuscany lasagna from Pizza Hut. Over 3 pounds of lasagna feeds 4 for just $14.99 with breadsticks. New Tuscany lasagna delivered only by Pizza Hut. Now you're eating.
I love you.
This Valentine's Day, Zales can help you say I love you like never before. Save throughout the store on gifts like these diamond heart pendants. Your choice, now just $1.99. Zales, America's diamond store since 1924.
When I think of the mess that we're in right now, it's just not right.
We had our whole retirement in place, and then it just went boom, you know, just up in smoke.
Well, I am still being nickeled in time, you know? It's like I haven't lost enough already.
A lot of my friends are still kind of having a hard time, and instead of dwelling on the past, I think it's time to move forward.
It's time to feel the first green flag drop at Daytona. Time to feel the speed. Hit the gas and hold on tight. The Camping World 300 at Daytona, Saturday at noon on ESPN2.
Number 3, North Carolina. Number 5, Duke. The latest chapter in a storied rivalry unfolds.
The greatest rivalry of them all.
Wednesday night hoops. Syracuse versus number 1 Connecticut at 7. North Carolina Duke at 9 on ESPN.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is presented by Bud Light. The difference is drinkability. And in part by IBM. Let's build a smarter planet. Visit IBM.com. And Prescription Flomax.
And welcome back to the Petersen Events Center, the campus of the University of Pittsburgh. Sean McDonough, Jay Bilas, Bill Raftery. We take a look at our Cisco game track. Pittsburgh has outscored West Virginia by 10 points here in the second half. They've out-rebounded them by 12. They have 20 points in the paint, and they've shot 72% in the second half, and it certainly hasn't helped West Virginia's cause that Ruoff and Butler have fouled out.
And any time that West Virginia has made a mistake in this game, Pittsburgh has made them pay for it. I mean, Pittsburgh's got 16 points off of just 10 turnovers by West Virginia. Their efficiency in scoring off of turnovers has been very, very good.
First free throw would not go for Tyrell Biggs, senior from Nanuet, New York.
He's really struggled over his last 5 games coming into this one. Last 5 games, Biggs was 3 of 18 from the field coming into this game.
And that forlorn look as Butler looks up. Deshaun, not a real happy guy. And Biggs is very important to them, I think. He's got to be a solid defender, a power forward screener, can step outside, make that little jumper.
Where he's really good, he's a very good offensive rebounder. Nice compliment to Dewan Blair in that regard.
Ebanks scores inside. Where do you think you guys might, this West Virginia team might be in the country if Joe Alexander came back? And one of the keys to this Big East being so powerful this year, most of the headliner upperclassmen, the great talent, stayed. Alexander left.
It gives them 3 major players.
Top 15. And how about if Joe Mazzulla didn't get hurt? Then they'd have a hard-nosed, upper-class point guard that they could rely upon. I mean, it's so hard to play in the Big East with anybody, but let alone a freshman point guard. And Truck Bryant's doing a good job, but he's still a freshman.
Nice kick out, unselfish.
By Biggs to Gibbs, and it rattles out. Sam Young is there. And a foul called as Jones and Smith went up to block it. They call it on Jones. Well, Pittsburgh with a tough slate still to come this week. Cincinnati here at the Pete on Saturday. A game we'll have on ESPN. And then next Monday, big Monday, at Hartford to take on UConn.
Jay mentioned the rebounding of Biggs. I think all their weak side rebounders are so strong. They're excellent offensive rebounders. Young, a case in point that last trip.
And that's going to serve them well against UConn. UConn, an excellent rebounding team with a little bit more size. But Pittsburgh has got some good bulk.
Be interesting to see if Blair can get the numbers of the beat. He's so good at staying away, not leaving his feet in terms of blocking shots. A guy like Blair could be a little tougher than most against the beat.
Big border rivalry, Kansas and Missouri coming up next. Ebanks fouled at the rim by Wanamaker. You can't look past Cincinnati. We talk about Big Monday. We're looking forward to next Monday night in Hartford. Cincinnati very quietly 6-5 in the league, 16-8. A recent win at Georgetown. We've talked a lot about the top 8 or 9 all year long in the Big East, and not about Cincinnati. Now they're making a very strong bid to be an NCAA team.
And Mike Williams helped out the last couple of games. Deontay, some tough guard in that backcourt. Oh my goodness.
And Deontay Vaughn having to play the point when they lost Kashmir Wright. That is an awfully difficult thing for a scorer to have to do, is handle the ball all game long and still be counted upon to score.
15 points for Ebanks. He's had a nice night. Originally committed to Indiana, then when the coaching change happened there, he opted out of that commitment and came to West Virginia.
Yeah, it's interesting, Sean. You talked about Cincinnati and their push to be an NCAA team. I think that Mick Cronin has done a terrific job. I think that's a good team, but you know, there's some gaps in logic with some of the way they're being discussed. People say, well, you know, look at who they've beaten. I mean, they've beaten Notre Dame and they've beaten Georgetown. And then in the next breath, people say, well, Notre Dame and Georgetown have no shot to make the NCAA tournament. They're not good teams. So how does that work?
No, that's right.
How do you get elevated by beating them if in the next breath you say, well, they're not NCAA tournament teams, they're not that good?
And both those teams can turn it around too.
No question. I'm not coming down the stretch. That's not the argument. It's just kind of the idea that, you know, you're elevating a team that beats Notre Dame and Georgetown, and then in the next breath saying, well, wait a minute, those teams aren't any good. They've proven that by the games they've lost. I just don't agree with that way of thinking.
Notre Dame lost 7 in a row now. Stunning development. They're in the top 10 in the country and look very much like a top 10 team when we saw them out in Maui. Levance Fields strong to the bucket.
How do you guard that?
He's a fire plug. Isn't he?
Like,
tankish.
Like trying to guard a bowling ball.
Ticking down to a minute to go. 177th version of the Backyard Brawl in basketball is going to go to Pittsburgh, and they'll sweep the regular season series. Time now for our Sonic most valuable player of the game, and it is Sam Young, who has led all scorers with 20 points tonight. And that's just about a typical night for the senior from Clinton, Maryland. His 10th game this season. 27th of his career with 20 points or more.
Doesn't he show the value of a senior, a guy who's been through it? Really good player.
I think also that shows the difference in the two teams. You have a guy like Blair having some problems. You got Fields who had some problems, and your third guy steps up in a terrific fashion. Young at heart. Look at him looking at that camera. He's heard your comments.
No, he was looking right at you saying third guy. What do you mean third guy?
You're right. I apologize. You know, I think we all thought early in the year the team that started losing games, the hardest thing for a coach was to stop that, because you knew you were going to have 5 or 6 tough games in a row. Everybody was going to run into it, and it can be devastating. So putting the skids on for Georgetown and ND are very essential. They can turn it around as quickly as it went south.
They can, but you know what I find interesting, Bill and Sean, is it takes so long to build up the confidence and swagger of a team, and it doesn't take very long in the Big East for that to be torn down.
It's a valid point. Now, Sean hasn't lost his confidence over the years.
Whoops. Bryant lost the ball, but it wound up with Smith. And a foul called on the baseline. Ryan Teasy, a walk-on, is in the game. Crowd favorite. Kansas, Missouri coming up in a matter of seconds. Missouri looks like they have a great shot to get back into the NCAA tournament for the first time in 6 years.
They do. Damari Carroll, very good player. Leo Lyons, their press has been very effective. The question is, will Kansas be able to break that pressure to score? Because if you can break that initial line of pressure, there's some advantage situations on the back end.
Flowers follows up the missed free throw with a bucket.
Well, it wasn't pretty. Sorry, Sean, it wasn't pretty.
Well, pretty was out the door after the first 5 minutes, I think.
Pittsburgh win its 4th in a row. They'll go to 22-2 overall and 9-2 in the Big East. While West Virginia will drop to 5-6 in the league, but their league schedule gets a little bit easier. Fry, another bench player, hoisted one, and the shot wouldn't go for Tim. Pittsburgh shoots 62% in the second half to win 70-59. Coming up next, Big Monday presented by Bud Light and Rivalry presented by Cisco continue. The 16th ranked Jayhawks, the 19th ranked Missouri Tigers. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. Once again, the final score, Pittsburgh 70, West Virginia 59. For Jay Bilas, Bill Raftery, Sean McDonough saying so long from Pittsburgh. Let's rejoin Reese Davis in the studio.
All right, Sean, despite the foul trouble, the Panthers get it done. We've got another intense rivalry coming up. Rivalry week presented by Cisco. Kansas and Missouri. They're going to tip off 9:10 Eastern time. We'll get you out to Columbia in a matter of moments. Digger Phelps alongside. And tough to find any rhythm in the Pittsburgh-West Virginia game, largely because of the number of whistles we continue.
Well, if the officials start out a game, Reese, and they're going to call them tight early, and you get Deshaun Butler on the bench, Ruoff on the bench, and then, of course, the big guy, DeJuan Blair for Pitt on the bench, now you got to stay that way the whole game. And yet for Butler and Ruoff to foul out for West Virginia, I thought the officials started calling the game too tight, and that really affected their performance. But you got to give West Virginia the credit to hang in as tough as they did. But as you know and I know, Sam Young takes the game over when they need it. Levance Fields gets his assist, and they just play tough defense, and they win. And when Blair got that technical for his 4th, you know, they were up 12 with 8 minutes to go. Same scenario. He got his 4th against Louisville. At Louisville, they were up 12. They end up losing the game.
Fell apart. So
Yeah.
maybe it's a step in the right direction in terms of growth, and Pittsburgh doing it without their star. We got a big test for the Panthers coming up next week when they take on
Oh,
UConn.
I can't wait.
Maybe
Big Monday is coming next week. The big guys go at it now. We got Carolina and Duke on Wednesday at Duke. Then, of course, next weekend, we go through what we're doing game day at Wisconsin with Ohio State. But more importantly, next Big Monday, you got it. Who is it?
Come on back.
Pittsburgh's at UConn.
Okay.
I'm back.
Come on
I'm excited
back.
about these big games.
I can tell. Also, he's a human promotion device. We'll talk more college basketball in a matter of moments. But first, the story of the day in all of sports.